Okay, hello and welcome, listeners and viewers, to the Talking Parra podcast. A very interesting chat we will have this week about the Cronulla Sharks game last Friday night, and we'll also preview the game at Brookvale Oval. Yes, it's Brookvale Oval to us. It's 4 Points Park to the true NRL people. But anyway, and against Manly this Thursday night. So the teams are released. Now, who is on the chat tonight? Well, we have myself, Troy, from the Parra podcast. We have Maddie from M.Tatey Sports TV. We have Joel from League of Inches. He has come back another week. We were so impressed last week. We've got him off the bench again this week. Heydan, I think, is still in transit from America, I think. So, Joel's back up off the bench. And we have our illustrious host, Adam Martin. How are we going this week, Adam? Over to you.
Thank you, Troy. Yeah, we're not as angry. We're pretty angry last week. It was a pretty fired-up podcast. I know Joel, look at him. He's got the mood lighting down. He's pretty dark there. So I think he's
pretty dark there, yeah.
He doesn't want the people to see his face when he blows up. I know Matt's pretty charming, ready to go. I've had not really more days because we played Thursday, but I've had a bit of a busier weekend, so I've had a bit of a chance to calm down. I wasn't entirely happy with some things, and I was a bit angry when the team list came out. But first of all, look, I've got a bit of detailed stuff to do, so I'll let Joel go first. He's the guest. He's off the bench. He's been called up again. So
second game.
We could call him our development player. He's just been called up, and we've had to activate him again. Look, actually, before I do that, look, there's something I need to do. And before I do that, I know this is a Parramatta podcast, but I've got a few mates that listen, and I need to say something, and this will be a very rare moment this happens. I would like to congratulate Newcastle Knights on a very courageous win. A very courageous win. Look, it was a reserve grade standard quality game of football. Really, it was 16th versus 17th. There's no doubt about it. The Tigers were woeful, and how average does Ice look playing outside of Luke Brooks? But anyway, it's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. We'll talk about that more when we play the Tigers in a few weeks. But I have never seen a team go through such adversity, really, whatever the word is I'm after, and come out of the game with a win. Like, they had every reason to lose that game. They lost, 2 out of their 4 spine, 5 spine, whatever you want to call it, if you included the lock. And injuries galore, and they come over the win. So look, I'll say it once and once only, just so my mates say, stop giving me shit about the amount of shit I talk about the Knights. I could do a whole podcast about talking shit about the Knights. It would last 3 days. Anyway, Joel, go to you now. I've said that. I've got it out of the way.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me again. The nerves are still sort of there. Second time, I think it's more daunting than the first time. There's a bit more expectations there. So, look, I know you sort of said a bit more relaxed now, but I'm the opposite. It kind of just keeps eating at me Friday, and I think more so because what we heard in the off-season, and the players and the coaches all talked about some of the games last year where we should have won that we lost. And I just feel like so far these first 2 games have been that as well for us, have been 2 games where they've been there for us to win. And look, I don't want to put too much on the halves. It's already been talked about, but if the halves sort of stepped up, we probably win both games. And I just feel like we're now in a situation where we're still trying to fight for a first win against 3 really good opposition coming up. And it's pretty daunting as a supporter looking at what we've got and what we could be. We could be 2-0 and looking half decent with some injuries still to players to come back. But I just felt like, it's just a bit of a heart wrencher, the fact that we could have easily won both games. I just felt like certain players who I don't feel like should be there sort of let us down again. And I'm getting a bit over giving them chances.
Yeah, I think we'll touch more on those players because I think I feel the same. But we'll go over everyone else's thoughts and we'll go through what I want to go through them. Hopefully it brings it to light a bit why these players are struggling. So, Troy, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, look, it was one of those games, as Joel said, it was one of those games that was there to be won. Got off to the cracker of a start, 10-0 it was. You thought everything was going rosy. You thought that this could be a big score, but the Sharks finished second for a reason last season. They are a very good side, and it was a bit of a tit for tat game. You know, we score, they score. Well, we scored 2, they scored 2, and then same in the second half as well. I thought when Mike Acevo went over in the second half, I thought maybe we just got in front there. Maybe we might have grinded it back out for a win. But look, 2 of the Cronulla tries, one, especially the one to Mulatalo, where he was over the top of Bailey Simonson. That was probably just a little bit of brilliance from Matty Moylan to see that and to put the kick over to him. As we all know, Mulatalo is a freak in the air.
Sorry, can I stop you there for 1 second? Because you're about the third person I've heard say Matt Moylan brilliance, all right? And we made Matt Moylan look like Andrew Johns on the weekend, on Friday, with no kick pressure. And I'll agree, he had a great game. But I never in my life thought I would hear the word so many times, Matt Moylan brilliance.
Well, just that kick out to Mulatalo was.
It was under the well-placed kick. But...
Yeah, exactly. And the long-range try that Will Kennedy scored as well. So, look, they were one long-range, one bit of Matty Moylan brilliance.
Don't say it again. It's been used too many times already.
And so, look, it was there to be won. I'm sure we're going to touch on it later, but the bench rotation as well, did it play a factor? Yeah, probably. The last-minute play with Wonga Blake, I'm sure we're going to talk about that as well. Could that have been run differently? Maybe, but maybe it was just that split-second moment where he thought he could get over the try line. Maybe he didn't have any time to think to get that pass away. So who knows? But definitely a game that could have been won by Parramatta.
Just one thing quickly. Oh, I forgot to mention this as well. And I'm over. This has been happening for years for us, I feel. We always seem, whenever we're up against teams, some of the lesser-known players or players that aren't as good quality always seem to just have star games. We make them look like absolute top 2 caliber. Like I'm talking Will Kennedy. No disrespect, but he's not in the top probably 7 or 8 fullbacks in the game. And we made him look like Billy Slater. And as you said, adds this then about Moylan and Trindle. We're making them look like we're versing Andrew Johns and Jonathan Thurston. Like, we just seem to do it all the time. We verse these teams, and like Denny Levi comes to mind. I feel like every time we verse him, we make him look like bloody.
You're right. My brother says the same thing. Denny Levi has never played a bad game against Parramatta. I don't know if it's what we do or maybe he might have grown up hating us.
Ex-Newcastle player.
Yeah, exactly right. But
I'll put all money on this weekend. We probably make bloody Croker look like a bloody Cam Smith or something. It's just a joke. I'm over
it. He's outraged. Go, Matty.
Outraged. Yeah. Disappointing. When it got to like 10-0 after 10 minutes, I kind of like looked at a couple of the guys around where I sit going, oh, we're on here, boys. And then it went downhill. Poor Guffo got
cursed us straight away.
I know. There was a few plays where I don't know, like the intercept to Mulatalo. It's like I think you touched on it last year, Adam, and I know I've seen Cooper Cronk. Shut up. I've seen Cooper Cronk bring it up as well. It's when players run set plays when it's not on. And I feel like that play was definitely not on. Guffo looked at him and passed the ball. I don't understand why he still had to throw that pass.
It's one of my slides for later on, but how many times last year did I come on blowing up about Guffo kicking in the ball?
He should have kicked on that.
He should have kicked the ball.
Kennedy was still under the post. He should have kicked. Bailey actually would have scored. But yeah,
I just like the word slides used there. I mean, I haven't had slides
we're getting into it tonight. We're every week we're going to upgrade. But yeah, just I feel like the Thursdays and Friday nights are playing a toll. Like we saw what we did to Newcastle. We looked slick. We scored when we wanted to score, kind of thing. Where I know it was only a trial, but still, like those plays, and then they've come up with nearly nothing on the weekend.
We played Newcastle.
Yeah, I know, but
that's one shot. Sorry, guys.
Those plays, like we haven't seen them since, and yeah, I just feel like I don't know. We rely on too many other players and play favourites too much. But yeah, we'll get into that a bit later because I've got some more notes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to run through this because
Slides and notes. This is big
I've got the
tonight.
notes.
this is big. I know we've gone fancy.
I've got some notes.
Joel, look at these two on the top here. Matty's got notes. Adam's got slides. We're just off the cuff off here, mate.
Well, I've never put this much time into it, but I've put a bit of time into it today, and I'm going to show it because hopefully this works. Because I've got a really big monitor, so
let's hope the listeners the listeners can't see it, but let's hope the viewers appreciate the effort.
Yeah, Matt, can you try and share that and we'll see if it comes up? No, it's too small. Right, hang on, give me a sec. Let's unshare that. This is technical difficulties here.
We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it for sure, but
we'll get it in the post
I've
edit.
got it here. I just didn't want to not be looking at you guys when I talk because I'm going to look at the screen, but it doesn't matter because most of the people listen to us, not actually watch us. So kind of defeats the purpose.
Shout out to the 48 viewers last week in Hopgood.
All right.
How many listeners last week, Matty?
I don't know. You've got the account for that. I just uploaded it. I didn't log back in.
All right, Matty, give that a crack.
It's going to be less this week. All right, there we go.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Right.
Let's run through
So
it.
I'm going to start off with this Parramatta try one. And we actually ran this play twice. If you can see the shape they've got set up there, traditionally and this is, guys, this has been one of my pet hates for years, is we just run the same plays. So I come out this game like you guys, pretty angry, pretty fired up. But when I've seen we've started to change things up, look, the clunkiness was there the week before. But when I've gone and I've watched this game, it's actually made me really impressed with what we're running. We scored 5 tries. Our defence wasn't there. I'll get to the defensive stuff as well. But if you look at the shape we've got here, obviously you've got Hodgson passing the ball and quite wide. We're using Hopgood, obviously bringing in that ball-playing lock. You've got Paulo here, Campbell Gillard, and Mitch Moses, right? So traditionally we'd run a block play. You've got Moses and Paulo running the sweep. Then you'd have Reg here and Gutho. As you can see, Gutho just had the back set up. But what he does differently here is we actually drop Junior Paulo under, right? So he drops him under, which completely throws their structure. If you look at the Cronulla forwards, you've got, I don't know their names. You've got 1, 2, 3. If you come to the third across here.
Maybe Rudolph
there.
Yeah.
I think Hemingway.
Yeah, we'll call it the one I got the cursor on. What it does is it forces him to make a defensive decision. And they're set for us to go at the back. If they go at the back, as you can see, you've already got Will Kennedy over here ready to slide. So if you roll it through one more time, we obviously can't show videos. Here's a defender right here who's had to make the defensive decision, and he's in no man's land. Now, if you've got a video, you can obviously see it panning out. Will Kennedy's had to stop in his tracks. You can see by the body language he's stopping his tracks. And obviously Hopgood goes through, throws a nice little short pass to Campbell Gillard while we still keep this shape here. The main thing about this is if this play breaks down to Hopgood and Hopgood goes to ground, we're set again on the right-hand side. So what I'm impressed about is, 1, we've got 3 or 4 options in that shape, but 2, Mitchell Moses is ready to go again. You can see Hodgson getting ready to move back into dummy half if it breaks down, but obviously we score off it. So to me, it's positive I'm taking out the game, a positive of a different shape, and it's a nice shape as well. And I know this is going to sound bad, and I'll get to that later, but we've relied on Gutho's last pass way too much in the last few years.
Yeah.
And to be honest, his last pass isn't up to what other fullbacks is, which is strange to say because he's played some time in the halves and he struggles to make those decisions. So that's try one. I'll get your thoughts on that try. First of all, Joel.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. I think personally, since our first trial, I've never had a thing about our attack. I think our attack is definitely there. It's definitely probably our strong point in our game at the moment. I think that just shows how good Hopgood is. He's got that many tricks to his trade, and we're just seeing another one there from him, how good he is at confusing defenders and having those options and having that ball playing lock to just help our attack even more.
Yeah, for sure. I won't go to everyone on all these because it'll take too long, but like I said, I'm majorly impressed because it's been my criticism is when we get to round 16, round 17 every year, we start to struggle. And the reason behind that is we've run the same plays from the year before and teams have worked us out. If we keep mixing up and running new stuff like this, we're going to be a much better football team come that time of year. I'm rolling these in order. I haven't obviously got everyone, but if you go to the first try here of Cronulla, look, you can't see the 4th defender here, but there is a 4th defender out here. A lot of it comes down to Gutho being in the field. Hey, so 4th attacker out there. A lot of it comes down to Gutho being off the field. If I point the cursor here, you'll see Bailey Simonson's caught at marker and really needs to be covering. So his job here, if you watch my cursor, is to sprint across and take the winger, obviously if the winger gets the ball. He hasn't done that, first of all. But second of all, there's no confidence on the inside. And once again, the reason I'm not worried about this is because I can tell Dylan Brown is really suffering without Sean Lane there. He has no confidence on the inside man. So if you roll it through, it's just a simple short ball. If you look at Wonga's body language and his body shape, he's turned ready to cover across the winger. It's not his job. He needs to take this man here on the short ball. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice ball. Dylan probably pushes up a bit too much. But Bailey needs to probably be about here now. If Bailey's here, he can probably get up and have an effect in that tackle if he needs to. Look, the try's probably on Wonga, and I'll get to the points about Wonga because he's obviously taken a bit of heat. That's obviously their first try. Rolls through, try time, over. Second try comes down to not having the numbers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Once again, look at Bailey. I know he's not your standard fullback, but you've got Bailey Simonson over here. I've been pretty critical of Gutho's positioning over the years as well, but after watching Bailey's positioning in that 10-minute, 15-minute period, I won't be as critical. Roll it on. They go again. Nice shape. Simple block play. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no.
Hang on. Let's get back into it.
Oh, no, no, no.
All right. It's always going to be some kind of technical difficulty. I realise I've sent through a couple of times because I had this all organised. So, once again, it's no confidence on the inside. So, Dylan's rushed up and made the tackle, which he hasn't had to make. Laziness. Laziness is going to be the key word here. And without having Lane and Madison there, I'm sorry, Matty, but who's lazy in this situation?
Cardi
is very lazy on the inside. It just comes down to having no confidence on the inside. And that's the point I'm making with these defensive decisions. We seem to cover the spread really well. Obviously, we're sitting on the inside shoulder of our the wing is sitting on the center's shoulder. We had the numbers covered anytime we weren't inside our 20. We go to this situation, all of a sudden we started to panic. I'm not a big fan of not marking up on your man when you're in your inside 20. We're already shaping out. He's throwing a dummy to laziness on the inside, they go through. I'll get your thoughts, Matt. Those two tries, very similar. Your thoughts on those two?
To me, they're just soft. And I understand Bailey's played a ton of fullback for Canberra and stuff like that. And we know how fast he is. So he should have been there to close those gaps. But yeah, the inside, you can see there as well. Like, it's like Hodjo gave up thinking he was just going to pass. He could have rushed across easily with Cardi and they could have just closed the gap. We saw Dury do it against Melbourne last week where he closed a couple of those gaps. But yeah, that's just the show and go. It's like it's like Moylan knew Cardi from the Penrith days, like, because that's he's always had that defense.
Yeah, and the thing is with me, I'm trying to be positive on these and say I'm not worried about him, but it's the same defenders constantly getting called out. I think having Gutherson there, these probably don't happen because the communication's better. But I've been at the game, I was very critical of Dylan because I said last week on the podcast he's going to struggle without Sean Lane. It still looks like he is. I'll move on.
Well, it doesn't bring him up in attack as well. Like, we saw Dylan last year with Lane there. They'd cover Lane because he was having such a good year, which opened how many gaps for Dylan? How many line breaks do we see Dylan make? He hasn't made one the last 2 games, and usually he averaged 1 or 2 a game.
I remember sitting here on a podcast last year. I can't remember what game it was, but I remember I got his all on Dylan Brown first try scorer. And I got heaps of people in the ground around me. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So what happened was the media beat up had all been about Sean Lane and how Sean Lane should play Origin, and Sean Lane's been killing it. So all the defenders are going to do is mark up on Sean Lane. Like, no disrespect to Dury, because I thought he's actually been going quite solid there. But, he's not Sean Lane and impact Sean Lane had last year. So we see Dylan struggling. This is the best I think our attacks look with our halves combined this year. It seems like our halves have been on a different level in a way. and it's all created by, there was an early slide, but God knows where it's gone. It comes down to Mitchell Moses, and I need to see if I got it because there is an earlier one. No, we're all over the place. I don't even think I sent them all through.
This is not a as we freeze play here sort of thing, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, we're into the second half now.
Yeah, we're in the.
Oh, hang on.
Hang on, no. All right, we're going to have to flick through these and we'll go through it. So everyone, stay patient. I don't know why they didn't come through in order. Look, but there was another slide, but I'll just break it down there that obviously Dylan and Mitchell combine. And for the first time, actually, we take advantage of having extra numbers there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on 3. And if you think back to this, Mitchell actually wrapped around last minute. It's a very simple block play, which isn't that. It's a very simple block play. And if I had my Mac working, guys, this would be fucking excellent. But my Mac isn't working, so...
Shout out to Apple. If you can send over a technical advisor.
There we go.
Oh.
That's the fuck up for later on. But we've got a 4 on 3. Look, I'm going to be critical of Wonga again here. Wonga actually doesn't run his block play quickly well enough. He goes to me way too early, so it's obvious he's not going to get the ball. Puts a bit of pressure on Mitch. He throws a dummy and goes again. Troy, obviously, at the game, what do you think of that try? Obviously, with the halves combining pretty well.
Well, it's good to see the halves on the same side of the field. As we all know, these days, sometimes they're not on the same side of the field. One's on one side, the other's on the other. But question to you guys, was that a 8-point try for that one? With the hit in the head or not really?
In my opinion, it was unnecessary but soft.
Yeah.
I've seen softer ones given. I've seen a lot harder ones not given as well. So, yeah.
Because Mitch certainly got up complaining about a hit in the mouth. So
you know what I reckon? Yeah. If Mitch stays down, I think it's an 8-point. But because he got straight up and carried on, they didn't even entertain the idea.
Possibly.
Yeah, if he stays down and cries foul and acts like he's broken his jaw or something, I reckon
they review it. And
he got up and fight him, I think.
I would have gone as far as saying Kenny might have been off for good if he did that. So the way the game's going this year anyway. So.
You're right. Yeah, you can't lay down anymore. It's as simple as that. Let's go to Cronulla's try. And this is probably the most frustrating one for me because I called it live straight away. Once again, they had a 4 on 3 on us. A lot of people are blaming Hopgood for this try. It's definitely not Hopgood's fault. We'll load it through there. We've got Moylan, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 against 3. Look at this gap in here. I was screaming inside. They're going to go inside. There's more to this try. There's more to this try. Why didn't
they listen to you?
Well, they should have. I was only, 100 metres away. But as soon as Moylan, you can't see, obviously, it's because it's not a video, but Moylan sweeps last minute. Not last minute, pretty obviously early because it's Matt Moylan, not Andrew Johns, as we said before. And he sweeps around and creates that number. The point of this one I want to show it is, besides the disappointment, was it highlights a bigger issue. And the bigger issue I'm going to discuss now with you is can we really expect a 33-year-old hooker who's just come off an ACL injury to play 80 minutes? Matt?
No. I'd be putting Yates up. I'd be...
yeah. We are wasting a bench spot every week as well, aren't we, by only using 3? And the frustrating thing for me is Hodgson wasn't actually playing 80 minutes when he left Canberra when he did his ACL. They had Tom Starling coming off the bench and stuff then. So I just think it's unrealistic and just stupid, especially when we're wasting a bench spot. Like, you get the bloke, he's been going great guns, but he's going to get caught lazy in these situations. And
you know what we need? We need someone to come on and play that Kevin Kingston style role.
That's exactly what we need. Yeah, it only needs to be 10 minutes either side of half time, not even that.
Well, we had a shot at Verrills. We had a shot at Verrills last year and didn't take it. He was coming mid-season. We had the option.
He was coming cheap as well.
Yeah.
Very cheap. And I'll roll this one through again, obviously. I think I'll roll it through. It gets to here. Hopgood's obviously, look, we had the numbers to cover it. You can see he makes some kind of effort, but the laziness is there and we go straight through. They've got numbers and score. To me, that it just highlighted that bigger issue. That's why I'm getting frustrated. I think I've been saying it for a while. We need to play that specialist 14. I'm going to bounce all over the place here and get to. This is a try that took us ahead 20-14. I think it was when Mitch nailed one from the sideline, but missed some other easier kicks. Was it?
Yeah.
No, it's 2014. Was it?
Nah, 2018.
Oh, yeah, because
Timberlake.
18, 14, yeah. Same shape. We run the exact same shape. This time it's run with Dylan. We tuck Jory under. Oh, no, sorry, Cardi under. Cardi comes back under. This time it's run with Gutho and it's run with Blake again. And he throws a cutout pass and he hits Sivo. Exact same shape. So we're nailing this shape, except it just shows the options we have when running it. We've thrown a cutout pass, gone away from it, instead of, going to the line hitting the short ball. Sivo scores in the corner. It's made harder once again because it wasn't run correctly. If we go back one.
Well, we saw that same play last week and it got called forward pass. So the exact same play we ran against Melbourne and it got disallowed.
Yeah, we didn't have the block play in it against Melbourne. We just threw that long forward pass. Well, out of the hand backwards pass. To me, the issue here is, and it's a highlight issue, I'm going to have probably a full segment about Wonga after this, but it's run wrong again. Now, when you run a block play, you need all people in the move ready to take the ball. Wonga has no chance of getting the ball. I know the ball's gone, but look, he's ahead of Dylan Brown, and Dylan Brown's moving in forward motion. Wonga has no chance of getting the ball. So the only option here is to throw the long ball or hit Gutho. If Gutho gets it, by Wonga being an unrealistic option, the Cronulla centre's already committed to slide out. All right, so this try should have been a lot crisper than what it was. We saw Sivo have to pretty much run over the top of the winger to score the try, but still, it's not a terrible play. What else have we got? All right, the moment that probably changed the game. We spoke about before. This should be a try every day of the week. We're in a 4-on-3 situation. Gutho's already beat the second rower inside. All he has to do is toe it through. He just needs to get towed through and we score. Will Kennedy's not even on the screen.
Not even on the screen. He was
not even on the screen.
He was under, next to the far post as well. He wasn't even.
Yeah, and it comes back to Gutho's last line decision making, in my opinion, which is one of the things I want to talk about later. And you can see here he's committed to the intercept. I know it's easy for us sitting here watching it, but you can see he's committed to the intercept.
Yeah, he's planted his feet.
You roll it on one more, he's ready. He's ready to jump up. The toe through right there, we score every day of the week. But the disappointing thing for me with this one is, and I'm going to have to go right back.
Back to the first try.
No, back to the first try. Back to this slide that kept popping up before. The disappointing thing for me is this. We're attacking our right edge. If we want to win football matches and we want to be a team that can challenge to win the comp, you get taught at a very young age coming through football that if you're attacking the right edge, your left edge is staggered. Right, your left edge is staggered to prepare to have a shot on the left or cover anything like an intercept or a kick gone through go wrong. Now, Mitchell makes an excellent tackle, runs back. They play the ball. Why the fuck is our centre and our winger just getting back to trying to attempt to make a tackle? They're meant to be the quickest people in the game, centres and wingers. They should be back there for this. We've got our right wing over here. Good job to Bailey. He's got across the maiden effort. No surprise that Dylan's there. Dylan's always there. And Penasini there. But the people that are on the left-hand side doing nothing should have been back to stop this try. He should have been back with the referee by the time they played the ball. So should have Sivo. Sivo's not even on screen, so I'll give Wonga a little bit of credit. But to me, this is where the game changed. They obviously scored there, as Troy said earlier. They scored off the kick try, which really should have been out jump, should have batted over the edge. But it's just disappointing. And you go through the ups and downs. I found some positive and some frustrations. But does anyone want to have a comment on that? It's just like the effort isn't there and they don't.
To me, it was like a comedy of errors as well. Because if you watch the replay, he steps inside and both Bailey and Wonga at the same time just dive in the air and put their arm out like that. And it just made them look like idiots. I don't know. Sivo's got this thing with jogging. I don't know. It was frustrating to watch, especially live, because you can clearly see Gutho can see Ronaldo standing there, and he just still threw the pass.
Yeah, and they're right. The pass was wrong. I'll move past that. It's just
it's
so frustrating to go watch a podcast and hear Brad say the effort was there when the fucking effort clearly wasn't there by two of your, starting players. And they're going to be starting players every week. They're named again this week. Joel, I'll get your thoughts on that kind of situation first. To me, it seems like we're still stuck in finals mode last year. And we're expecting things to happen, expecting other people to put in extra effort instead of having each other's back. And that's what's really pissing me off. Joel?
Yeah.
The frame before here, and when they're first making, I wish you had the one where he played the ball, Mulatalo. Sorry, I was just
Yeah, no, I don't. I definitely don't.
The hole was
Now stop sharing now.
the hole was massive, and I was watching that just going, "This is a joke." And look, at least Wonga for mine, at least he made it back. As you said, Sivo wasn't even in the picture. Paulo's at least there. But for mine, like there should be at least another 4 or 5 players at least there, like making the effort to get back. Like there's enough time for Mulatalo to jink a few times and then finally get tackled by Moses, which takes a couple of seconds. So then there's surely enough time for at least a few of those players to have turned and got back to at least make some sort of lineup. Like there was literally at the time when the play the ball was first done, it was only Wonga on side really. Like he was still making his way back on side, but he was at least in the pitch. He was the only one. I think that you could have fit the Titanic through it. It was a joke, and like good on sort of Simonson for chasing back and doing his part. But like for mine, there's got to be a lot more players there that are making the effort. Like us last year in the finals run, there would have been the whole team back by then. But it's like I don't know. It's just that mind frame at the moment where those 1%ers are real worrying. And looking at your slides, and you mentioned that Gutho moment when he went off, that has me really worried because for mine, if we lose Gutho for any sort of time this year, we're done because I think he's the heart and soul of the club. And his talk in D has clearly shown that we need him to organise because clearly Simonson can't do it. He can't do really much at the moment. I don't even know why he's in the team, but we'll go there later. But like seriously, it's just it does my head. Like we're up 10-0 on top of the world. We could have scored probably more just walking through the way we were going. And then as soon as we lose our captain, who wasn't even a HIA, it was a HIA from whiplash. When you actually watch it, he's literally got whiplash. And yeah, it's just a joke. Like little players, little 1%ers where, as you said in the presser, and I'm a massive Brad Arthur fan, but don't give us the bull crap about the effort's there when the effort was just not there for a lot of those plays.
Yeah, if I could, I'd take that slide to Brad and I'd show him that one slide and it would sum up the first 2 weeks so far in one slide.
But the other,
sorry,
just quickly, on that last bit where the effort isn't there, it's also because of of Brad Arthur and his interchanges. You can tell some of those players are just absolutely out on their feet, and you can't blame them because they're versing top 6 teams in the first 6 weeks or something, and they're just asking them to play 60, 70 minutes. Like Hopgood's a gun. Do not get me wrong. Hopgood's going to be a freak, but you can't just expect him to go 80 after 80 after 80 when we've got some players there that can do a job for 10, 15, 20 minutes and let him have a quick break. Let Paulo, Arcedina have their breaks that they need. Even Dury, for instance, Dury's coming off a big injury. Don't ask him to be playing 80 minutes yet because he can't do it. He's getting tired and you can see it.
Agree. Troy?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, Adam, thank you very much for those slides. That's great technology there, and I hope that Anthony Seibold's not watching this podcast tomorrow because we're going to be in all sorts. But look, there's a few things. We've spoken about the bench rotation. Yeah, all 4 players need to play off the bench. There's no point in having three players on there and one of them not getting a run at all. Heydan Knowles said that the most connected team is the best defensive team, and the best defensive team wins competitions. So you're right there. Obviously, they're not connecting with each other, and they're not communicating with each other, and that's how all these holes are being found. And yeah, that's how the holes are being found, and we're being caught out. But the other factor is too. Micah Sivo, Bailey Simonson, Wonga Blake, Bryce Cartwright haven't played any games since, or they didn't play any games from the start of, from the grand final. So
and Bailey still hasn't.
Well, yeah. So again, that could be another factor as well. And as you mentioned, Joel Matt Dury as well, he's coming off an injury as well. So we've got 5, maybe 6 players that are coming back from injuries or didn't play trial games. And in these first 2 games, they are getting tired. But But yeah, definitely for me, it's definitely the bench rotation. You need 4 players on that. Obviously, you've got 4 players on there, but you need all 4 to have minutes on the field. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know whether Ryan Madison would have made any difference. He may have made a little bit of difference had he been there, but you can't just say without him not being there, he would have made that difference. So I don't know. One of my questions is to you guys. I probably said it last year, but would you have either Junior or RCG start off the bench, just so you have one of them on the field at the same time all the time?
Yeah, we discussed it last year, but
you can. Brad answered that question.
I don't think
you can't pay a front rower $650,000 to start from the bench.
I'll say what I would have done, and this is the only way I would have done it. And I've been saying this all last year as well, but I'm going to be critical of Brad here and say once again another player's being shown the door because something's happened and God knows what, but it's not the first one. But the only person I would have had starting who I think brings enough aggression that Paulo and RCG bring is Nathan Brown. And I would start him in the front row, no doubt. There we go. Look at that, man. That's fancy as hell.
We're pulling out all the tricks tonight.
Yeah, we are. We'll go to that later. But to me, that's the only person I have saying that because I said it last week. I think our forward pack, our backup forwards, like Greg, I know Greg didn't get any game time, but he's just not where he should be. Makatoa tries hard, not where he should be. I actually, to his credit, I thought Murchie really stepped up, but I don't think he's a starting front rower. So, in my opinion, no, we have to keep Reg there and Junior. What he seems to be doing is playing one of them longer minutes, and so they're not off the field for as long. We saw Reg play a whole 40, which is, pretty amazing. So,
yeah, I think there's a little issue there. And the way I'd entertain doing it, and I'd start both, but as sort of what Troy's sort of alluding to is I'd have one of them come off after about 10 or so minutes, which sounds crazy, but just give him a little spurt, let the other one go for the 20-minute, 25-minute period, and he interchanges with the one who's gone off, and then have your Murchie or something that's on still, and then going from that. So at least you start with the big dogs, so to speak, and then you sort of alternate with them too, because I don't think we can have RCG playing 40 or Junior playing 40, which will probably happen most weeks at the moment. And I know it's going to be easy when Maddo and that comes back, but yeah, and as Troy's saying on defense, like we were the worst defensive side in the finals last year with our record, and already it's only 2 weeks in, but we're the second last defensive team now, so it's not a good start.
I think taking away from the fact we probably need a 14 on the bench, I think when Madison comes back, Madison goes to the bench and this solves the issue of that. It seemed to be where we found the balance last year, Madison coming on and playing in the middle. And I know I mentioned it last week. And I know I've said Madison, maybe a selfish decision. I want to retract on that. So I don't think it was a selfish decision because a stand needed to be made about some of these ridiculous decisions around the judiciary. But in my opinion, the stand didn't need to be made a grand final when there's only 2 teams. If he would have done it in round 4, other players might have stood up with him. But, it is costing us not having Matto there, in my opinion. Matt, your thoughts on what Troy said?
Well, just quickly on that. Sorry, Matt, but
I would even put Jake Arthur.
I asked the question about suspensions. Like, we saw that a few of the players served their suspensions in the World Cup that last year. Could you serve your suspensions during trial games?
No. I mean, I'm a representative football. You can serve it during. He got selected for the All Stars game, which I don't think he's eligible for either of them. He could have, but he would have been. Wouldn't he have been eligible for one of the nations? So he's got talent in him, doesn't he?
Everyone has a talent in him. Come on, we've all got someone.
It's just a thought, players. Players do it for the World Cup.
That's like Sean Russell. We should have named him in the semi-final last year. So he served 1 week suspension so he could play round 1.
You're right.
Not have done his shoulder at training last week.
You're 100% right, Troy. And what this comes down to is a bigger issue of misorganisation within our club. And that's all it is. I
agree with that quickly, but on that suspension, I'm surprised it hasn't been more made out of the fact that it's dead set it was the off season. So why the hell does it matter if we change our mind in the off season? Like, there's no games played. Like, if he wants to change his mind and go, look, I'll just pay the fine, who does that actually impact? Like, they were able to change the Penrith players and stuff when it's semi-finals time, and they go, yeah, he can push it back, blah blah blah. We literally have not played a game, and we're not playing a game for 3-4 months. Like,
because it's Parra. Just saying.
Yeah, I know it's piss poor management, and someone should have said to Matto there and then, no, mate, you're doing the fine. And for mine, that's another thing to do. How can you even go a fine or it's a three-match suspension? That's a massive difference in itself. But like dead set, like there's no games are getting interrupted by it. Just let him pay the fine and see you later. Like, I know it's our club, but like I'd say that for any club if it was any player. It just seems so stupid.
It does, and you're right. There's bigger issues there, in my opinion. There's got to be more to it, because you look at our draw as well. I know we're a popular team to watch on the main games and stuff, but the draw we have.
That's what I want to bring up too.
Yeah, we can go into.
Go ahead, Matty. I interrupted you.
It's not fair. It isn't fair. How you can expect a team to play. Besides Manly had a rough year last year because of Turbo, obviously. But to play, Melbourne, who finished, they ended up finishing 5th. We knocked him off. And obviously been a top team for years. Then we play Cronulla, who finished 2nd. I know we got 2 home games. But then we play Manly at Brookie, which is probably one of the hardest road trips you're going to have. Getting over that bridge is hard. Just ask Manly fans. And then you've got the week after, we obviously play Penrith at home, grand final rematch. I know they always schedule that one early, but then we go to the Roosters. Then adding to that, you've got Manly, the Roosters, and Penrith all coming off buys the week before. This is my problem with the competition and bringing in an extra team as well.
And you got Broncos that don't have to leave Brisbane for only 6 weeks.
They play 3. Yeah, they literally go to Canberra, Melbourne, and like 2 or 3 games in Sydney, and then they've got teams up there all of a sudden playing home games up in Queensland. It's
and Darwin.
I just think we're never going to have a fair. We're never going to have a fair comp until we play every team twice, or they do some kind of conference situation where you play. Everyone plays the teams in their conference 2, and the top 4 go through from each conference, and you play the other teams in the other conference once. It just frustrates the fuck shit out of me, to be honest, because we want to be the number 1 sport in Australia. I know AFL probably rates higher, especially because of Victoria, but you look at the competitions across the world and taking away the EPL that doesn't play finals. You look at the NFL, obviously the NBA, stuff like that. Everyone has a conference system, so it's fair. It's just, how some idiot the NRL approved for us to pretty much big chance of being 0-5 at the start of the year. And a lot of it in the background makes me think maybe they want us to go on a run. They want us to go on a run and win games like we did in 2009 to get the crowds. They know we've got the members. Or maybe they just don't give a shit and they're just thinking about TV dollars once again.
We don't have Uncle Nick running us. So
isn't it made up by a computer somewhere in Canada, the draw? But
they say
there's fingers
probably
all
like, let's just get Parra to win the wooden spoon so we're another walking meme or something.
I mean, like the buys early on in a season for a team can be a bonus, but it can also be a non-bonus, so to speak, because you've just started the season and you may have that momentum. But yeah, it is definitely tough to come up against those teams after a buy. That's for sure.
Free buys is stupid as well, Matt. In my opinion, we shouldn't have bought 1 team and we should have bought 2 teams in. I hate buys.
Yeah.
I think for the team
it's only 2. It's only 2 because there's always been 1 for the representative.
Yeah, I hated that as well, though.
That's why you have a squad. That's why you got a squad. You should play.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree. You know what I hate about
Peter V'landys, Andrew Abdo, if you're listening or watching.
But
if they're listening or watching, let me add them, please. Because the thing is with the buy, just quickly, my part of that is they're going about player welfare. Now, I know the team that gets the buy, it's all well and good, and they don't like it at the moment because it's too early in the season. They're trying to gel. But for the team that has to verse that side, so for Parramatta for the next 3 weeks, where's the player welfare that we have to verse teams back after back after back? Fresh as daisies, and we're already smashing ourselves.
That's right. Panthers already think they're winning. They bloody went to Kiama for the weekend.
They're holidaying.
They're on a holiday camp already.
I guarantee
It's called a crisis meeting, actually.
With Jerome and Cleary and the moon boot each. Just saying.
Crisis meeting. Anyway, look.
But anyway, so back to my thing.
Sorry, Matty.
Sorry. I just have to get it out of the way. So bench rotation. I know everyone doesn't like it, but I would bring Jake in at 14 if we're not going to play. Now, there's a number 14 that I have in mind, but he's playing at centre for New South Wales Cup in his first game for the Eels this year, which is astounding considering the fact he's a gun 5'8" halfback in Dejan Arce, but Parra playing him at centre could be some writing on the wall there. But to me, he should be 14 if they're not going to upgrade Yates.
What happened to your other little favourite that you had?
Ross Cartwright starting at 11.
No, Brendan Hands.
Oh, Hands, he's playing.
What about him as a forward? Yeah, but what about
him? He could work.
He's
played 14. He's played hooker. Is hooker? Okay, I didn't. As soon as I saw Arce was named at centre, I was done. I didn't look at the rest of the team, but
okay, he's hooker.
Hands is a gun. I see him somewhere, but mate, his last name's not Arthur, so you won't get a spot. Sorry, Brad.
Shots fired.
So fired.
So little
playing favourites.
Little Matty got excited that Arce was named as centre. That's all we can get.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But do you think? So to me, I feel like it's the Thursdays, Fridays, all in a row, because it's not giving us enough time to train. So let's look at it this way. So going off BA's last year's training schedule, so we played Friday. We would have had Saturday off, would have done recovery Sunday, would have trained Monday. Then he would have captain's run today, then play Thursday with tomorrow off. That's 2 sessions a week.
I get it, but professional
we're not playing.
I know they're professional.
We're not playing part football where we train on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like
they've got to vote in the poll if they're going to make it.
Like I just feel like it's throwing us off a bit with the sessions and whatever the training schedule is with these Thursdays and Fridays.
I think that's what we're going to have to deal with, to be honest, being the club we are and how big we are. I think we're just going to keep getting those Thursday, Friday time slots.
Everybody wants to be us. All right, I'm just going to go through some stats quickly because you know I love my stats. And
I'm a stat man.
This is one that sticks out to me straight away because I bagged him out last week. But Sivo, 16 runs, 178 metres. You obviously got the try line break, but a lot more effort there. I called him out. I know he's probably listening. Thanks, Micah, for listening to the podcast. I said he needed to make more effort, and he did. He made more efforts, more tougher runs. Obviously, downside of that is Simonson come in with 1,325, much better than Lumi's 67 or whatever it was the week before. So once again, I'll give Simonson one little rap there. But once again, Dylan Brown, 19 runs, 195 metres. Now, if I'm looking at a front row going, they've made 19 runs and 195 metres, I'm getting excited. When I see that our 5'8's made 195 metres worth of runs, it's worrying. It's worrying because he shouldn't be doing that. He should be too hard. He's trying too hard. You're 100% right. He's lost. He's lost with it. And you look at Cartwright, who's made 13 runs for 137 metres. That's still a pretty gallant effort, but you know, he should have an extra 70 there. He should be at 200 and Brown should be at 120 or something. Moses ran for 11 runs, 138 with a couple of line breaks as well, which I criticised in the week before, not running the ball enough. But let's look at our front rowers with massive efforts. Apollo over 15 runs, 171 metres, 30 tackles. Reg ran for 18 runs, 181 metres, 65 minutes, 31 tackles. And Hopgood, who I thought was outstanding again, 13 runs, 145 metres, 4 offloads, 71 minutes, got a bit of a rest, and 47 tackles once again. Hopgood, his numbers were down by, 27 metres on last week, but it's because we saw a lot of those offloads. A lot of those offloads and a lot more ball playing, so it was brilliant. I'll go to everyone's man.
He used as decoy as well a lot of those times.
He was. If you looked at his involvement and his touches, it'd be high, 100%.
Especially that last minute play.
I'm going to go my man of the match, and it could have easily gone to Hopgood. I thought he was in everything, and I thought he could have lost that game a lot more if it wasn't for him. But I'm going to give it to Mitch just for the bounce back effort. I thought he was terrible the week before. I'm still more confident now. I know you guys said that Gutho was practicing his kicking or something in the warm-up, goal kicking, was he?
Yeah, goal kicking, yeah.
Mitch has obviously had some kind of niggling little injury, maybe his calf playing up again. But, I thought he was bounced back, got a try double, ran well, tackled very well. And he's my man of the match. I'll go to you, Troy. Your man of the match?
Probably just Jermaine Hopgood again, 2 weeks in a row. I just think he was a class above the rest this week. As you said, his stats were outstanding, and just his involvement and his offloads. And I think he was probably a little bit disappointed that he got taken off the field for that little break, but he'll be back. He's not going to be wearing the black headband either. He doesn't like the black headband because it kept on slipping down or something from round one. But we said, that should be your look now. But Jermaine Hopgood again.
Yeah. Joel, yours?
I'll go the Hopgood. I think he just gets me aroused when I watch him at the moment. He gets me so excited. But I want to do a quick shout out to Dill Brown. I know that, as you guys said, it did look like he was trying a bit too hard, but I'd rather him be doing that, especially he's still young. A lot of people forget that. I'd rather him be trying too hard and trying to get himself involved with the game than doing a repeat of round one where I thought he was real quiet and just looked sort of disinterested. So I think a special shout out to him. At least he was busy and tried to get his running game back, which I think they probably clearly spoke about during the week and said, we need your running game back. So I think it was good to see him doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to go one. Nah.
Good one, Matt.
I thought he broke his arm again. I thought he had his other arm.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, but he said it was just a little jar. Maybe that might have been. But yeah, Mitch.
On his mind.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mitch. It's easy to give it the Hopgood, but I think Mitch, you can see just that rundown try saver gets it for him anyway. And if you watch every break we made, he was there. Where every time a player had their arm free, he was screaming for it, which the fullback should be doing, running through gaps, and doing backups. But yeah, Mitch.
You know what? No one. We talk about moments quickly. No one's mentioned the Hopgood moment, which I think needs to be said. That last tackle,
the last minute,
where literally he made the tackle, and then he was the first to rush over to pack the scrum. I know we've had some good players over the last couple of years and that, but I don't remember a player who's done that much. And that
was a high march.
Yeah, that's what it really reminded me of that sort of player, which was really, really good to see.
Have to get him in number 11, I think.
He's not Hop Good, he's Hop Great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's Hop God at the moment. He's the arousal levels are that high at the moment. He's
you and the rugby league guru should get together, mate.
Look out the misses, I tell you, Hop Good.
All right, I'm going to go back and share one more thing before we move on from this game, which is...
Move on.
The team list?
Yeah, we're going to forget about it.
Oh, you're going to share the team list? Okay.
No, not the team list. Not yet. I'm going to share this.
We need patience, mate.
That'll be a quick chat.
Oh, here we go.
All right, this is the one.
We still haven't brought up Heydan's discussions yet.
Me and Troy are together.
Yeah, we haven't got time for Heydan. You can have his discussions when he returns. To me, it sums up Wonga's performance. Look, I'll say this. Sivo's kind of overran him a little bit, but it's because he's held the ball up a little bit too long. We can't get this wrong. A first-grade football team shouldn't get this wrong, and a first-grade player shouldn't make this mistake. It's a simple draw and pass. It's a thing you taught at a very young age. To me, he wanted the hero moment. He knew he'd had an average game. He knew he'd made some poor choices, and he wanted the hero moment. And we've got to get that shit out of the team if we want to be a team that's going to go on to obviously, threaten to win the comp. It's frustrating. I'm not going to say much more about Wonga. I hope he turns it around. Last time I bagged him out in the game, he went on a pretty good run of games where, I think we all bagged him out after that Melbourne game in Melbourne last year. And he went on a run, but he was on the wing. To me, I'm still confused as to why in a grand final we played Bailey at centre and Wonga on the wing. And then we get to round 2 of the competition, which means a hell of a lot less than just having a strongest team in the grand final. And we put Wonga in the centres and Bailey on the wing. So Hopefully we see that change this week if it is going to happen, because I actually really like the thought of having Bailey as a centre. He's quick, and I think his hands are a bit better as well. So that's pretty much it. I just want to show that last screen, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. I don't have the team list up, but I will get the team list up. Matt, before we go to the team list, have you got last week's bowl prediction results?
Yeah, no one got it right.
Yeah, I got the second try scorer this week, but
Sure,
It
you're
was
clutching
the week-
scores every time we do this. Matt.
If it was the week before, no, Joel would have been close. Because you had both front rowers to score a try or something.
Yeah,
Well, unfortunately-
I was cheering Reg first scored. I was like, oh, look out. And then, yeah.
Unfortunately,
Well,
for
it
you,
was
it wasn't the week before. All right, let's move on to this week.
look, I just want to quickly
Yeah.
say our person that is away tonight, Heydan from the Entertain House, he
Yeah,
did
here we go.
want to say he wants to mention that feels like round 4 is round 1 for him, but we're only on round 3, so I'm not too sure what that is about. But he's been impressed with Jermaine Hopgood, as we all have, and Will Pinasini. He wants to see Dylan Brown find more open space, and he doesn't think that we should hit the panic button right just this early. And he agrees with Matty, need to have someone come on for Hodgson after half time. Looks like Hodgson should play about 50 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And we've touched on pretty much most of them, so we're all sharing the same similar thoughts there. Thanks, Hayden, for your input. See you back next week.
Maybe because Joel's just doing such a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're just going to run off 5 and see how that looks.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's share this screen. So we're sharing screens again. We're getting very technical here. It's this week's team list. So, Matt, when you want to accept that. All right, look, there's no changes.
So why did you need to share it?
You can see the list there. There's no changes. Yeah. It's one of those moments there. No change from the team that played. Obviously not the team that was named last week. I want to look at the extended bench, though. Jake Arthur, Hayes Dunster. God, I hope he gets a run. Ogden. Number 21 is Kai Rodwell. Love to see that bloke make his debut. And number 22 is Isaac Lumi. I don't want to see that bloke make his second debut. So, like
Bring
I
on
said,
Hayes. Bring on Hayes, please. Bring it on.
Where do you bring Hayes, though? Do you bring him in for longer or do you bring him in for Bailey?
Well, this is a question I got from probably you and Matt, because you both seem to be more of the Wonga bashers than me and Troy. But
Me?
I don't know why Simonson's getting away with so much. Like, every time I've watched him, I just think, what's he doing in the side? And even last week, like we talked about the Mulatalo try, there's actually a picture where Mulatalo's taking the ball and Bailey Simons is looking in the other direction. His hands aren't even near the ball. So, like, I don't know why he's sort of getting away with a bit, because for mine, if I'm changing someone in that back line, he's first to go, and he's easily first to go for mine. I'll be putting Hayes at wing. For mine, I think Wong is still clearly playing injured, and I'd give him a rest. And I think we've spoken about in the chat, I'd let Sini have a run just to see what he's got. He was pretty good in the trials. I know it's only trials, but I think the best thing for Wonga is not to
He
be
can't
playing.
get a run.
We can upgrade someone, which we haven't touched on.
We can upgrade him, yeah. Like
We can upgrade him because we've obviously lost
Brown.
Nathan
So
Brown.
we've got a top 30 spot. We've got 2, I believe, because we already have one.
3 spots now.
we got 3. It's 20. It's down to 27 now. So
That's what I mean. Like we're smashing Wonga, who's clearly still injured in my eyes, because every time he runs, he stays back and he's held by the trainer. Why are we pushing someone after 2 rounds, rushing him back, where we've got a player there who sort of showed, in trials he can do a job? Why aren't we sort of rewarding that? Like, that's why we left 2 or 3 spots to do that, and it just doesn't sit right with me.
I think that's why they might be trialing RC at center, because he's a ball player as well. So he's fast, he's strong, he could probably do it all. But
Is he fully fit?
No, it's his first game back. He injured his knee in preseason training.
Because when he's fully fit, he has to be in the 17. I think he's.
Have you seen his highlight reel on YouTube?
Oh, he's a freak.
He's a gun. But yeah, and he can put up those bombs too, the Burton bombs. He's a freak at those. We saw Mitch actually get another one. But yeah, to me, I'm putting Bailey center, giving Wonga a bit of a break especially when jarring that other arm every second. Like you think you broke both arms. But yeah, I'm definitely putting Bailey center and bringing Hayes in. If I'm looking at that roster now, I think Hayes is going to run.
I'm looking at the changes possible.
I think Hayes actually played center a couple of games as well, just to trial it.
Well, they reckon they were trialing him throughout the off-season, like training. He was at center. So either way, I think one of them's going to make way, and Hayes has to get a run. He deserves it.
Just a quick one for you boys.
In the team.
Yeah.
With our wings, let's say hypothetically all four are fully fit. I know Micah gets the first one, but who's next in line when they're all fit out of Russell, Hayes, and Simonson, you reckon?
Russell.
Bailey.
I personally think Hayes. We're all going to say different.
We're all going different.
Well, so the thing for me is Sean Russell's a try scorer, he's a finisher. But it's not what football is all about. For me, Hayes and Sivo, Hayes has that ability to put a bit of size on. And I'm a big fan of his, and I think he'll be able to make more tough runs out of trouble. And to me, that's what a lot of it's about, especially when we're expecting – I stopped sharing this so I can actually look at the camera properly, but when we're expecting our front rowers to play such big minutes, I think, having that winger that can have those tough runs out of trouble is bigger to have Hayes there.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like we're missing Fergo a bit.
Oh, we always will. Any club that had Fergo would miss him. So
bring Semi back.
Yeah, don't start that. I started that rumor last year on the podcast and went around every group. All right.
Look, looking at that team list, I'd probably take off the two bottom 16 and 17. So that would be Wiramu Greg and Makatoa, and swap them up with Ogden and Rodwell. We all joke about it, but Rodwell's played 7 games of first grade, but he's been in and around the first grade.
Joel doesn't know the joke.
Yeah, he's been in and around first grade, getting a run, and he could end up like that. There was another front rower that we had that has gone to Newcastle, I think, young bloke that had all this promise and probably didn't get a run and left the club, and then so we're going to develop all these players, and we've got them there. Why not give them a crack?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's run through that game. Obviously, I said it's Thursday night at Lottoland, Brookvale Oval, whatever you want to call it. Manly have obviously made a pretty good start. They won one and they beat the bye. So good.
Just
beating the bye. Had a close game. Look, there's no doubt a lot of their games are based around how fit Turbo is and how good Turbo is. I think he still struggled in that first game back, which is scary for us. But to me, Daly Evans was absolutely brilliant in their first game. They've got the freshness of the bye as we're coming off a 6-day turnaround from a Friday 6 o'clock game to a Thursday night. As Matt said, our rhythm could be off, but for me, it's a game where it's won. I think our attack is doing enough. Our attack is getting there. Our defensive structure needs to be better, and I think it will be, because I think Gutho. Well, I know Gutho loves playing. He's like Mitch playing the Tigers. Gutho loves playing Manly at rookie, so he's just going to have one of those games. Where it could be lost as well is Gutho having one of those games where we don't see him need to overplay. We don't need to see him do too much, too many last play options. So I think Hodson's probably going to have his best game this week. I think that'd be a bit of a tactic to take a bit of pressure off Gutho. And I think that's how we win it. We just win it with our combinations clicking, to be honest, and defensively our structure's got to be better. Matt?
Yeah, to me, I feel like it's patience. I feel like, as BA was saying too, whether you win by 1 or win by 13, like it doesn't matter. As long as the effort's there. As long as you win, it doesn't matter. So I feel like we need to just be patient, play our style of football, grind out a win. Just get that win under your belt, and then the rest will come later on. Like, obviously, we've got new players, new combinations, but we know what they're capable of on the day. So I feel like the boys need, depending on the rain, the weather, I feel like they just need to get into a lead and just play the time. Like, just time waste the shit out of the game. Just old school, grind it out, get the victory, ugly win. Just get the win. Yeah.
What you're saying is we need to score the most points to win the game.
Well, yeah. That's
how does a team not score? How does a team score 26 points and not win? Remember BA last year?
We will still.
Structure was terrible.
It's because we don't have a defensive coach at the moment.
We will have a pretty good chance of winning the game if we do score more points than the opposition.
Since Kidwell's left, we've had nothing.
Thanks for that input. You got anything else to add about how we're going to win the game, or is that
No, just patient.
Well, look, here we go. Manly and Parra at Brookie. But look, one thing that I think, I don't know if it's going to be a tactic or not, but Josh Schuster comes back this week from Manly. He hasn't played a game all year.
Another bloke that doesn't know how to play a bad game against us.
Yeah, but he hasn't played a game this year, so why not just run the traffic straight at him all night?
What's he playing? 5'8"?
5'8". Yeah, so I don't know if it'll do much, but just keep on running the traffic at him all night, tire him out.
I feel that's pretty rough on Cooper Johns. I thought he made quite a good start in that game, but Manly do Manly things. Joel?
We've seen this too many times. I think Schuster's going to tear us apart. I think, by the sounds of it, I think it's been pretty wet in Sydney, and it might continue on. So that might be in our favour to really make it a dogfight and have our forwards card it up as they continue to do, and the game plan probably will be that. To be honest, I'm a bit worried, and I've got some close family that are Manly fans, and not looking forward to I'll be putting the phone.
Not your family, are they?
No, they're married into the family, so.
You can change that.
Yeah. I'm a little bit worried. I've seen too much defensively on last week to not get myself confident about this week.
Thanks, Joel. But just for the weather report, it's going to be 34 degrees and sunny on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well,
the last couple of days have been raining, and
today was the last day of rain in Sydney.
Yeah, but Brookie's a hole, so Brookie won't be able to hold its water well, so it'll still be muddy and wet by then. It's all good.
Yeah,
it'll hold it too well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's still going to be a mud pit there.
Yeah.
It could rain 3 weeks ago and it still have it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's get on to our bold predictions. I have given this no thought whatsoever because I've been too busy preparing my slides. Troy, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, well, look, I'll just I won't go first. Heydan will go first. Again, he's not here again, but his score prediction is 24-20. Now, his first try scorer is actually Josh Schuster for me.
I hate when he does this shit.
But his first Parramatta try is Mike Acevo.
That doesn't count anyway. It has to be first try scorer.
Right, well, he's gone Josh Schuster. And his bold prediction, Matty will be happy with this one, is that Bryce Cartwright will record a try assist.
Copy me from last week.
How is that bold, hey?
Who is this?
I don't know.
He's trying to catch Troy. He's doing
Troy.
Troy will do like a favourite bold prediction.
He's picked a win.
Yeah, because it'll happen. It'll happen one time.
Hang on. What was his one last week? Oh, Reg, 170 plus meters. I didn't even.
Oh, that was bold for our front row to run over. Yeah, come on, Hayden. You got to be better, mate. If you're listening, an hour and 8 minutes in, you got to be better. All right.
Okay. So
you had your chance and you blew it.
So my score prediction.
Can I go mine first?
Yeah, that was Hayden's, not mine.
That's Hayden's, not Troy's. Yeah, no, I don't want to let Troy go first anymore because I realised.
Okay. So my score prediction will be 22-16, and my first try scorer will be Dylan Brown, and my bold prediction will be that Brad Arthur uses all 4 players for more than 5 minutes in the game.
That's
four reserves. It is bold because the last 2 weeks he hasn't used them, so he might stick to it. He might stick to his guns, but I reckon he's going to break out all 4 reserves for over 5 minutes each.
All right, so I'm going to go Gutho first try scorer. My prediction is 25-18. And my bold prediction is both halfbacks to kick a 40-20.
Ooh.
Joel?
Who's your field goal specialist? Who
Well,
kicks
it has to
field
be
goal?
Mo. We don't have one, so
I reckon
no,
Gutho.
I don't know. I don't want to get that bold.
Oh, I know we're a Parramatta podcast. I'm going to say Manly win this.
Well, Joel is not allowed back on the podcast, guys.
Okay, welcome back, Heydan.
Welcome back.
Thank you for
No,
your last
right.
2 weeks
Hayden's
service.
done it. Anyway,
You know
We've given
what,
you-
though? Because I got to, like,
We've
you
given
got
you
to
an
put my
early
Parramatta hat on
release.
then? I'll put my Parramatta hat on. Well, I'll go 13-12 Parra.
13-12. Is that because of all the rain?
Yeah, that's all the rain we've had, and that's because it makes me feel bad. So I'll go Parra 13-12. First try, I'll go Gutho. I think Gutho will step up against his old club at his old home ground. Bold prediction, I reckon we'll see 2 late changes. I think we'll see Dunster and Rodwell come into the side.
Yeah.
So I know
I was
BA's
actually
got
going to go that. I was going to go late change.
So your bold prediction is going to happen even before the game. That's good. That is bold.
Yeah, and I'll post it. I'll post it on game day, and it'll be like,
hopefully anyway.
Matt?
all right, here we go. I got
Someone
26-18.
18.
No, 26-18. I'm a bit panicking about this one. I think it's the first time I'm going to pick Manly in my tips in ever. Tip against Parra, but that's just a strategy because every time I
Wait,
tip
did you
Parra,
tip? Is that Manly to win?
No, this is Parra to win, but in my actual
okay.
tips,
Yeah, okay.
I'm doing a bit of a reverse psychology.
I'm with you.
I got Bailey first try scorer
No,
if he
Jimmy,
plays.
yeah.
If he plays, but I think he'll go. I think maybe Wonga will sit out. Bailey will go center. Dunster comes in, but I've got my bold prediction is Dylan Brown 2 try assists.
That's not very bold either.
He got 2 last week, didn't he?
Mate, he only got 1 last week.
We got 2.
No, I'm pretty sure.
He got the pass for Moses' try,
2.
first try, and then he got the cutout pass to Sivo.
Yeah.
But is that a try assist if he just
I
passes?
thought you got to pass the ball.
No, it's a try assist.
Oh, I got Dylan. I'll make it 4 try assists. He'll get all the try assists.
What was your score?
26-18.
He
So
scored
4
5
tries.
tries.
So no, I said 4. I said he'll get all the try assists then.
So is it 4 tries, 4 conversions, and a 2-point field goal, or 4 tries and a penalty goal, or
Yeah, there'll be a penalty goal.
Mitch has to do something? He's clearly getting no tries.
Could
Four
be 6
converted tries.
Could be 6 tries and Mitch has
Maybe,
a shot
I
with
don't
a
know.
boot.
Maybe.
That's more believable.
Yeah, there you go.
And can I just say a happy birthday shout out to former Parramatta Eels first grade coach Brian Smith. It's his birthday today.
I'm not saying anything to him.
I'll send him a text to see if he's thinking about the game.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
he turned Parramatta around. Anyway.
No comment.
Give us the premiership.
Yeah, no comment. Yeah. He tried hard. All right, that's all we've got time for. Bit of a long podcast / video. I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully we can get a win so we can get off the board pretty much. Off the bottom of the ladder. Second bottom of the ladder.
Go Parra.
Cool. Go Parra.
Go the Eels.